Hey guys,
Hey.
happy Thursday. Thursday, right?
Yes,
We're kind of
yes,
losing
Thursday
track of our
night.
days. Thursday night. Today is day 3 of
Tree.
quarantine
Tree,
with the
my tree.
Sanchez's. Tree at 3 years old. So we are, as the updates, Maddie is free. So she's been fever free for over a week. No sniffles for a couple of days. And so we broke her quarantine today, and I know she's super excited about that.
We didn't have to shoot her.
We didn't have to shoot her. Yeah, didn't have to take her out to the barn and, let her have it. Oscar is sounding a little bit better, still a little snotty, but he's always a little snotty. No, I'm kidding. He is doing, I think, better.
Better,
You feel?
yeah.
Still tired. I don't know about you, but I'm still...
Didn't get much sleep because somebody was making them.
I slept better last night.
Yes, you slept really good.
And so then he didn't sleep.
Yes.
So we're going to have to take turns. Like, you sleep on the elevation pillow one night, I sleep on the elevation pillow the next night.
I kept hearing like Darth Vader was next to me.
I woke myself up a couple times, so he's not kidding. And the rolling pin worked last night. I think he rolled my legs out one more time before he went to sleep. And I was able to actually sleep. And I probably slept so hard because I was just so tired.
She slept really good.
So
kept me up.
Sorry. Anyway, I'll give you some earbuds tonight. Maybe it won't be so bad. We'll probably, this video will be a much shorter than previous days because we're super tired. I don't know about him. I'm super tired. Work task today. I spent a good part of my day trying to get my office set up for telemed. My office has kind of been used as a storage room / guest bedroom / catch-all. Everybody has one of those, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to move some stuff around and then try to get the technology pieces of it done. Still got some I got to do, but it's actually a little bit harder to set up than I had anticipated, but that's okay. We're going to get this done. So I'm excited. Tomorrow I get to start seeing clients. So I don't know. It'll just make me feel a little normal again. So, and then setting up a small coop. So you want to tell the story about how that transpired?
We actually had to pick up some more supplies. We ran out of salt blocks for the cows, so we
remember that last night at bedtime.
Yes, called Bolivar MFA, ordered some salt blocks and a couple more bags of cow feed. And while we were over there, we were talking, and all of a sudden, prayed.
Yeah.
And we kind of felt, get some more chickens.
Yeah.
So we picked up, I think, 12?
Just 14.
14. Not many.
4, 4, and 3? What do you get? Or 4,
4, 4.
Oh, I don't even know. I think you're at 14, yeah.
I think it's 5, 5, and 4, I think it is.
Yeah.
Just a few more, and just in case, things last a little bit longer, heck, at least we'll have eggs in 6 months. 6
months or so. And realistically, you can live on eggs and water. I mean, it's not going to be a flourishing life, but you can survive. So we're just trying to think ahead a little bit. And we really did. We sat there in the parking lot and just kind of prayed, Lord, is there anything else that we have forgotten that you think we need? Anything that, he knows the future. He's our source. He's the one who's been the source from the beginning. And so that's just what the Lord dropped on our heart.
I think it was kind of funny because after we prayed, I told her, I said, I kind of miss having chickens. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So
we're like, normally when we're on the same page, it's like, okay.
God thing. Yeah.
So we just picked up a few more.
Yeah. Now, and for those who don't know, last year we lost 57 chickens to a fox. So we're going to up our game this year. Since we have time at home, we're going to fix up the coop that's closer to our house. And then we'll probably, once everything settles down, get a little electric fence and just put it around that. And if any of you guys have great tips on how to keep foxes away, I told Pastor Mark, who lives right around the corner from us, and if you've ever seen any of his Facebook stuff, he catches foxes and traps stuff all the time. And I told him that there's a whole family of them that lives in the field behind our house and cleaned us out of chickens, and they should be well fed. So, so if you don't mind, pray with us that this group of chickens survive and that they're safe from, animals. And any of you guys who've had chickens or farms, that it's the unexpected things that happen. We prepare the best we can, but
Well, what was it, about a month? I guess a few weeks ago, he caught a bobcat. I think it was like a
30-something pound bobcat.
35-pound bobcat.
He said it was a mile from our house.
It was a good-sized bobcat. Biggest one I've ever seen. So
yeah, this is a little bit smaller than Ava.
Yeah.
She's 70, so, just a little bit. Anyway, so we got just a little coop set up today. It's in the laundry room. But hey, and we had all the stuff from our other chickens, and we brooded quite a few chickens over the years. So, so far everybody's good. They're in the laundry room for tonight, and then tomorrow we will work on their more permanent home and give us something to do. So, fun stuff. I got to spend some time with the cows. I actually got to go out to the barn when I was getting stuff for the chickens. I got to go out to the barn and spend some time with the cows, and I posted a little quick video on Instagram. If you're on my Instagram account, jump on there. And I heard Oscar laughing from the front yard because I was Norman, I was in a corner and I'm trying to unravel stuff, and because we had tried to secure it so the cows couldn't take it down, so the heat lamps. And Norman was trying to make sure I left with more holes than I came with. So I hollered out and I was like, Norman, I want to leave the barn the way I entered it. And I could hear him laughing. I'm like, oh, I guess that was loud. Sorry.
I was putting the salt block out. So
yeah. So anyway, and we also rested. Today was my day to take a nap.
Yes,
even though I slept really good last night, I still really weak. Which again, I know it takes 2 weeks, but my goodness. So it's been a little frustrating for me. I have a long list of things I need to do, but I gotta just trying to be obedient to my body and just take it a step at a time. And then our tip for today, think outside the box. So like a lot of people, more and more people are becoming aware that we're really going to enter a season where we are going to be locked at home. We saw in the news this evening, right before we posted a video, that they're talking like California is going to be all on shutdown. And I think that's just the beginning. I think we're all going to wind up that way. And so for those people who thought that would never happen, like, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the store. What am I going to do? We were kind of thinking about ways to think outside of the box. So most hand sanitizers are gone, toilet paper's gone. They're getting small shipments, but there's not a lot. I've heard that most towns don't have any more meat. Most towns are out of a lot of breads, pastas. And so just 3 that we thought of or we've heard from other people is getting like tuna or salmon in oil. So most of us don't like it in oil because it tastes oily, greasy, whatever. Or even salmon, sardines. I know, you don't have to like them. The cat can eat them if they want. But if you poke a hole, so let's say you have a tuna can. So if you poke a hole in the top of it, and then you take a little bit of a paper towel or a cloth or some kind of twine, and then just kind of stick it down in the tuna can, you can actually light that and use it as a lighting source. And then once you've used all of the oil out of it, you can still eat the tuna or salmon or sardines, whatever's in it.
Tuna, cooked sardines.
Cooked sardines, there you go. Something else we thought we saw the other day that was kind of like, duh, what do you think about that? A lot of people have pools, or they've had like not blow-up pools, but like the above ground pools or inflatables. So you may actually have a couple of bottles of what they call shock, or granules, chlorine granules for the pool or a spa. And in a moment of need, if you're really in need of bleach type properties, you can actually use those same things. I'm not saying you drink them, but if you're needing them to sanitize the house or, of diluting it, of course, use wisdom, do a little research. But any type of, so let's say you can't get bleach at the store because they're out, go to their pool section, because when we were there, was it about a week ago? And the, a week ago, I had been out of the hospital week. I guess it was when we first got out. And the pool section was full. Plenty of bleach, but there was none on the bleach aisle. So just little things like that to think about. In your pool and spa stores, they're going to have bleach because that's what they use for shock. So reach out to your local pool or spa person, if that's something that you're needing at the last minute. And one other one, and my mother gave me this tip, so thank you, Mother. And it was really funny. I'm like, I'm not buying it, but you can buy it. my mother recommended, she saw it somewhere that you can, I guess in Alabama, which this isn't surprising, there you can buy a bottle of some type of alcohol like vodka, whiskey, any type of grain alcohol. And I don't have the recipe, but you can just Google it, and you can actually make hand sanitizer out of liquor. So again, a lot of stores are still carrying different forms of liquor, I assume. And so I saw on Facebook today, it was like a 96 pack of beer. And
that's only in Alabama, though.
It said family pack. I'm like, oh, is this how we're dealing with the apocalypse? We're just going to give everybody alcohol. Okay, whatever. But it is a way. Again, this is thinking outside of the box. Hand sanitizer's gone. What am I going to do? Look online, get that recipe for any type of grain alcohol. Oscar made a joke earlier. He goes, I know we have some Alabama family that makes moonshine.
In the event of a gas shortage, you can use moonshine to run your vehicle.
You can. Your vehicle may not be happy about it, but it will run. So, and again, I'm assuming you could probably make hand sanitizer out of it as well. So, we're learning as we go.
A lot of flammable things with it. So,
Molotov cocktails. I don't know. Anyway, that's just 3 ideas that we had heard in the last week or so. But realistically, I'm sure you could even probably Google alternative ways to get supplies and things like that. So as the shelves are becoming empty, again, I think about Dollar General. They've got their pool stuff in, and I bet you most people aren't going to think to go down the pool aisle and get their bleach. So anyway, so if you are still going out and venturing into the community, which I highly, highly discourage unless you absolutely have to, those are just some tips. So just think outside of the box for everything. You know, the longer people are stuck in their house, supplies will run out. You may have to start rationing. So now would be a good time to do research on exactly how many grams of protein does each family member need to survive. You know, we're not talking steaks every night, perfect situation, but in the event that this extends to 3 months, 6 months, what is the bare minimum that you're going to need as a family to survive? And so just thinking outside of the box a little bit, and we prepare as if it's going to happen and pray that it doesn't. So
another thing I saw on Facebook, that there was a warning going out where people are coming up to houses, knocking on the door, saying that they're from FEMA, that they're there for testing for coronavirus. And it said, don't let them in, call the police. So I'm assuming they're coming in and robbing people. So just be careful. As far as I know, FEMA's not coming to anybody's house and doing any testing. Mm-hmm. So there was a warning out on Facebook. So if anybody does come, don't let them in, call the authorities and verify through them first before letting anybody come in, and which I'm pretty sure they will make an announcement that if anybody is going to come in, I'm pretty sure they would let you know. So just use caution. People are going to take advantage of the situation. Mm-hmm. Just use caution and, mm-hmm. be wise.
Yeah, be wise.
Protect yourselves, because as time gets, supplies get short, people are going to get desperate and they'll do anything to take care of themselves, especially other family members, especially people that have kids. Mm-hmm. And criminals are going to do whatever they can do to
and even people who aren't criminals, they say that the average person will go about 3 days without food before they start acting really, really crazy. Desperate. And so we all know that desperate people are dangerous people, regardless of, whether they have a criminal history or not.
Well, and another thing to think about, I don't know, medication, as long as people out there that have the medication that need it, but if
they run out,
who knows what's going to happen. So mm-hmm. Just make sure you just be safe, be wise.
We talked to Maddie today about starting to carry even in the house, because again, let's say that somebody busts in the door at this season with everything going on. Again, I'm hoping none of this will happen. I think it's more at risk of people who live in the city than for people who live in the country, but you never know. And so I just encouraged her that what we're trying to do is even in the home, carry just in case, because my philosophy, and they said they're going to put this on my tombstone, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So for us anyway, that's something that we're going to do, or I've been doing, and he's doing some, although I just stole his holster because if it's better than he bought a real kind of soft holster for his revolver. Well, I guess it's my revolver technically, but our revolver. But then the holster that I had for my 380 is just too big, and so you can't conceal it on my body like anywhere. So, but the soft holster I'd like to bear because it's easier to conceal. So I'll make him one out of duct tape or something. That should work. So since I'm out of duct tape projects for now. So our scripture for today is Proverbs 18:14. And it says, the spirit of the man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit, who can bear it? And I love that scripture because it really speaks to the power of broken hearts. So it says that basically it's saying that a person who's sick, physically sick, it's amazing what the body can endure. I think for Oscar and I both, we've talked about how amazing it is that what both of us have been through with his open heart surgery and all the different things that his body went through and all the different surgeries lines, all the different things that have happened in my body, and yet we're both still kicking. So it's pretty miraculous what the body can endure, including this virus that's going around. But the scripture says that a wounded spirit, who can handle it? Who can bear it? So, of course, this is right up my wheelhouse because I work with people every day who have wounded spirits. They've been hurt, they've been broken, they've been disappointed, they've been abused. And I think that scripture, if nothing else, should, one, tell us that emotional pain and spiritual pain is oftentimes more painful than physical pain. Physical pain, you can take a pill for it. Emotional pain, it's not that easy. And because I know for a lot of people, they're like, well, if you can't see it, it can't be that important. And that's not true. And so for me today, I was just thinking about that the body is miraculous and how it heals itself. And God created our bodies to heal itself, even with potentially man-made viruses. God made this body miraculous. And he made our souls where they can be healed as well. And that kind of healing, spiritual healing, really takes place before the Lord. Counseling is great. I think that plays a huge role in a lot of people's recovery, especially with trauma and things like that. But also prayer. Because I know I've seen that even in our lives. And I just remember one time in particular that Oscar was really struggling. And he went to the healing rooms and asked for prayer, and it was miraculous at how different. Do you remember that? And how just different it was. His whole approach to dealing with the situation was different. The heart had been mended. And so a lot of you guys are going to be sitting at home with broken hearts. Maybe you've had broken relationships. Maybe the last thing you want to do is sit at home by yourself or with your family and have to think about and have to, a lot of people like to stay busy because the busier they are, the less they have to face their stuff. And I encourage you to take this time to face your stuff. Take this time to pray and ask God to heal your heart. Take this time to read the Bible and learn who you are through Christ, what God says you are, who God says you are, and understand that if anybody has told you that you are anything less than who God says you are, they're a liar. And so I hope that, and I know we mentioned that yesterday too, that this be a season of rejuvenating for people, of rest, of restoration, but don't let this be a season of complete isolation. Thank God we have technology. Some people still have landlines. You have phones. You have 1,000 different platforms of social media. You can reach out. You do not have to be alone. And just use this time as a time for spiritual healing too. Any thoughts on that?
Well, the big thing is just make sure you always communicate. There's someone there. Talk to. There's no reason to be alone. You know, there's always someone there. If you're married, you got your spouse. Always communicate with your spouse.
It's important.
You know, that's one thing with Gail. Gail and I, we always talk. We always find time to talk with one another if we have issues. We always make sure we talk. We never go to bed angry with one another. And communication, you know, like when our kids get married, that's the biggest thing we always tell them is communicate. That's the number one thing, is to always communicate with each other. And you know, there is no reason why someone should feel alone. You know, there's always someone, there's always a helpline, you know, crisis line.
Yes.
You know, there's a priest, a chaplain, you know, there's always someone there that you should be able to talk to or feel comfortable to talk to someone.
Yeah.
You know.
And even without technology and neighbors or anything else, God is always there to communicate with you.
Yes.
And I know for some people, they're like, yeah, but I don't hear the audible voice of God. Well, no, but a lot of times he speaks to us in our own voice. Like he'll drop things in our heart. He'll put things on our mind. Just like today when we were praying, God, is there anything else that we need to do? We did not hear an audible voice in the car say, this is God, you need chickens. But the Lord placed it on both of our hearts. And in that confirmation, it's like, okay, we're hearing from the Lord here. And go ahead.
I don't think I've ever heard an audible voice. You know, most of the time it's either a feeling, you know, or like, for instance, you know, today where you and I just have the same thought or feeling, or we come up with the same idea, but I don't think I would love to.
Right, that would be so much easier. Billboards, audible voices. I've heard the audible voice of God once, and it was kind of...
I think if I ever heard it, I think I'd pass out. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, mine's a story for another day, but it was definitely one of those reprimanding moments for me, and the Lord just kind of let me have it. So, but other than that, I'm the same. I just hear him in my spirit. He'll put a thought in my head, a suggestion, even a scripture. It was the most bizarre thing today. I was listening to a family member tell me some information over the phone. And while I'm on the phone, a scripture, because I'll get scriptures throughout the day that pop up for my Bible app. And it was the scripture that says, a wise man hears all, the wise man hears all facts before he speaks. A man who does not hear all and speaks first is in folly, or something. And I was like, well, that sounds like the Lord. So sometimes things like that are the voice, just getting to hear the voice of the Lord. So plans for tomorrow. I actually get to start seeing a couple clients tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. And we are going to work on the chicken coop. Or at least...
Or I'll probably be working on chicken.
Well, no, I'll help. At least I'll supervise. You know, that's what you're good at. I'm a better supervisor. So, but also probably spending some time with the cows too, because they're pretty sweet. Anyway, so we love you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support and love and messages, and we look forward to continuing through this quarantine journey together. And if you guys have questions about us, we would love to answer them. So like, if you want to say, well, tell us about this or that, we would love to be able to throw this into our little list, just little fun facts or little details about us or our family or likes or dislikes or whatever, just to get to know you guys a little bit better as well. So love you guys. Anything else?
That's
all right.
It.
We're exhausted.
Time for bed.
It's time for bed. All right. Love you
Shower,
guys.
then bed.
Yes. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
Be blessed.
Bye.
Bye.